One day, a class of students went on a field trip to the woods. They got on the bus and drove to a well-walked path. Walking down the path, they saw many tall evergreen trees, moss-covered stumps, and pretty little wildflowers. They could hear the wind in the trees, the singing birds, and the distant sound of a creek. "Let's find the creek!" shouted the kids. "Not to worry," said their teacher. "The path will soon take us right along the creek." So the students continued, and sure enough, they came to the creek and walked along it until it turned into a fairly large and quiet pond. "Wow," said the students, "it's so beautiful." Just then, in the not-so-far distance, they heard the strangest sound they had ever heard. "Did you hear that?" they said to each other. They listened again. "I don't hear any." "Shh! Let's find out what's making that sound." So they continued walking. Sometimes it sounded like they were getting closer to the sound because it was getting louder and louder. They came to a large fallen tree. It blocked their view of the pond. They heard it again, only this time it was very loud. They scrambled over the fallen log, but when they got to the other side, all they could see was a little green frog. "Oh, how cute," they thought. Then they heard another noise. They all looked at each other. "That was me. I'm hungry." "Oh yes," they thought. "We are hungry too." They climbed back down the fallen tree and sat down to eat. All of a sudden they heard it again. They jumped up on the log, but all they saw was a little green frog. They returned to their lunch. "Do you think the frog is making that weird sound?" one student asked. They didn't know for sure, but they decided to keep a close eye on that frog. Some students quietly peeked around the log, while others walked sneakily through some other trees and sat in some long grass. They watched. The little green frog went, "Mm-mm." Then it looked left. Then it looked right. And suddenly it stood up. The children jumped up. "It is you!" they shouted. The little green frog froze. The children laughed, and the little green frog jumped into the pond and out of sight. On their way home, the children made up a new song about the little green frog. Gripping stuff. I mean, I was on the edge of my seat. Did you guys know it was the green frog? I thought for sure it was that chipmunk. He was in like almost every scene there. And I'm not sure, but I think there might have been a dinosaur or two. Did you see any dinosaurs? Maybe you'll have to go back and look. Now before we keep going, first of all, Happy Easter. I hope you had a really good one with your family. And I got this frog right here. Okay, this is a gyro frog. And I'm going to tell you at the end of the video how you could enter for a chance to win this frog. This one right here. Okay, that comes at the end. You're probably wondering what was the song that they made up. Well, I'm going to teach you, okay? So this is going to work just like in music class. I'm going to sing a line, and then you're going to sing it back to me. To the screen, not to me. I can't hear you. I wish I could. Okay, let's try this. Went the little green frog one day. Your turn, ready? Went the little green frog one day. Went the little green frog. Your turn. The little green frog. Went the little green frog one day. Went the little green frog one day. And they all went and they all went Good. Let's try that whole thing together, because it repeats. I think you guys probably get it. Ready? Went the little green frog one day. Went the little green frog. Went the little green frog one day, and they all went Good, that was the first part. Second part of the song goes, but we all know frogs go la-di-da-di-da, la-di-da-di-da, la-di-da-di-da. We all know frogs go la-di-da-di-da. They don't go Okay, let's try that last part together, the la-di-da part. We'll try that all together. But we all know frogs go la-di-da-di-da, la-di-da-di-da, la-di-da-di-da. We all know frogs go la-di-da-di-da. They don't go Okay, let's try the whole thing now. Ready? Actually, just one sec, because I think I can bring up the words for you guys. There. You can see the words there? Okay? Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Went the little green frog one day. Went the little green frog. Went the little green frog one day, and they all went But we all know frogs go la-di-da-di-da, la-di-da-di-da, la-di-da-di-da. We all know frogs go la-di-da-di-da. They don't go Great. Okay, this time we're going to try some actions. So, I can't really show you from my corner, but I'd like you to crouch down like a frog. You know how you get your knees kind of up high, right? And you have your hands down like this, okay, right on the floor. And then when it gets to the la-di-da part, you're going to stand up and copy me, okay? And I have it recorded here, I think, too. Sing along with this one. Let's see. Went the little green frog one day. Went the little green frog. Went the little green frog one day, and they all went But we all know frogs go la-di-da-di-da, la-di-da-di-da, la-di-da-di-da. We all know frogs go la-di-da-di-da. They don't go Good. And so with that last part, the you get right back down to a frog. This is especially for kids like kindergarten, grade 1, grade 2. Anybody who really wants to do the actions can. Let's try and make this song a little bit more interesting. I think we could maybe add a quiet part and a loud part, and I'm wondering which should be which part. So should be the quiet part or the loud part, or should la-di-da-di-da be the quiet part or the loud part? Let's try making the part the loud part and the la-di-da part the quiet part and see how that sounds, okay? Let's try that. All right. Went the little green frog one day. Went the little green frog. Went the little green frog one day, and they all went La-di-da-di-da, la-di-da-di-da, la-di-da-di-da. We all know frogs go. La-di-da-di-da, they don't go. Ah. Let's try it the other way. Went the little green frog one day. Went the little green frog. Went the little green frog one day, and they all went ah. But we all know frogs go la-di-da-di-da, la-di-da-di-da, la-di-da-di-da. We all know frogs go la-di-da-di-da. They don't go ah. So what do you think? I think maybe the la-di-da part should be louder, but you guys can choose whichever way you would like to at home. And you can make other things loud and other things quiet. Like if you want to make the very last line, they don't go ah, very loud or very quiet, that's up to you. You get to choose, okay? Okay, the next part we're going to add is a little bit of rhythm. So again, it doesn't matter who does this part, you get to choose and decide. But you're going to say to yourself, walking through the forest with my friends from class. Walking through the forest with my friends from class. Walking through the forest with my friends from class. Walking through the forest with my friends from class. Okay, and we can actually turn that into a clap. Okay, so we're going to go, let's do it together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Walking through the forest with my friends from class. Walking through the forest with my friends from class. Walking through the forest with my friends from class. Walking through the forest with my friends from class. Okay? Or the other one that you could do is a bit slower. And I don't know if I can stomp. I might pound on my wall here because I have carpet. I don't know if you can hear that. So I'll pound on my wall. But the words are wind in the trees. 3, 4. Wind in the trees. 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 Good. Okay. If you have lots of family there, try putting them together. They go together really, really well. Give that a try. Grade 2s, do you remember what that's called? A clearly defined repeating pattern. Clearly defined repeating pattern. Did anyone say ostinato? Ostinato? That's what it's called. When you do a repeating pattern like that, it's called an ostinato. So we're going to add that to our song. And you can do it a couple of different ways. You can do it in like, you can see here, A, sing the whole song, and then B, after the song is finished, you play your ostinato. So here are the 2 ostinatos. Now you could, without any music, you can clap those 4 times. But I've also given you a practice track, and if you do it with the practice track, then you'll have to do those 8 times. Okay? So going to the forest. Oh, I said walking, didn't I? Let's change that. Walking in the forest. Okay, walking in the forest with my friends from class, or wind in the trees. Wind in the trees. Okay? Or the extra challenge, you put them together and you sing the song. You're going to need more than one person to do this part, but one person would sing the song and another person would play their ostinato. And you can just clap and stomp and do that, or you can find things around your house to make noise and play those ostinatos. That's up to you. But that is the activity, to try to put it together. Okay? Now, if you can put it together, and if you can take a picture or a video, or if Mom and Dad just want to send me an email about what you guys are doing and how it went, Then I will write down your name and put it in a jar for a chance to win this frog. Okay, it's a cool frog. You take this out here and you scrape its back. And it makes a frog sound, okay? So anything, you guys put together a video or a picture, or mom and dad just send me an email about how things are going, and I'll write your names down and stick them in a draw. And the draw will happen, you can put tickets in the jar this week, for this week's lesson, and for next week's lesson, and then I will draw a name after that, okay? And I'll just get that home address from you guys, and I'll come and deliver it myself. Drop it off on your mailbox or something, okay? One last thing before we go. There is a practice track available to you so you can practice at home. Now the track goes singing only, okay? Then rhythm only with a little bit of piano in the background. Then singing only so that you can practice that A-B-A thing that I said. And then the very last time it plays them all together so that you can practice playing it that way too. Now there is no singing on this track and there is no talking of rhythm on this track. There is simply the sounds in the background to help you practice at home. And we're going to give it a try right now together here, okay? Went the little green frog one day. Went the little green frog. Went the little green frog one day, and they all went ah. But we all know frogs go la-di-da-di-da, la-di-da-di-da, la-di-da-di-da. We all know frogs go la-di-da-di-da. They don't go ah. Walking in the forest with my friends from class. Walking in the forest with my friends from class. Walking in the forest with my friends from class. Walking in the forest. Here's the other one. Wind in the trees. Wind in the trees. Wind in the trees. Wind in the trees. Went the little green frog one day. Went the little green frog. Went the little green frog one day, and they all went ah. But we all know frogs go la-di-da-di-da, la-di-da-di-da, la-di-da-di-da. We all know frogs go la-di-da-di-da. They don't go ah. Here it is together. So there you have it. Please send me your emails and videos and messages. I got a very small few last week, and I loved them. I loved seeing and hearing from each of the families that emailed me. That meant a lot to me. Hope you guys are having a great week and that you have fun with the music. And yeah, see you next week. Bye guys.